Peace, and blessings, folks. Maurice here, Friends of the Congo. We're back again today, as we shared with you, starting on Monday. We'll be with you every day leading up to December 4th, when the signing of the so-called peace deal will take place at the White House with President Donald Trump hosting the presidents of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Felix Tshisekedi. So they've arrived at Andrews Air Force Base. We see in the picture there President Tshisekedi and his wife. Also, President Kagame has arrived at Andrews Air Force Base here in Metro Washington. You can see President Kagame there. So they're here for the big signing, where in the White House tomorrow, December 4th, we will see both presidents with Donald Trump, as President Trump will share with us his reality TV version of White House meetings with African leaders. And if the statements he has made recently about Somalia, I think just yesterday or this week anyways, yesterday or day before yesterday, about Somalia and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, any indication of where he stands as it relates to Black folks here in the United States and on the African continent. He gave us some insight as to his thinking and what he thinks of Africans, whether they're, and it's important for us to know, whether they're at home on the continent, in Somalia or the Congo, or whether they're here in Minnesota. President Trump is very, very clear about what he thinks of people of African ancestry. So in any case, we're going to see the signing tomorrow. Both presidents have arrived for the signing for this Washington Accord that is quote unquote supposed to bring peace to the 30-year war of aggression and plunder that the Rwandan government under the leadership of Paul Kagame has waged against the Congolese people, of course, with his comrade in tow, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda. In any case, as we folks talk about peace in Washington, what we do see on the ground in the Congo is continued war, continued suffering in the occupied territories of the east of the Congo. Congolese people are under tremendous pressure, under a climate of fear and insecurity, as we've seen the reports this morning come out of the province of South Kivu, where there are clashes between Congolese military, the M23, Rwanda-backed M23, displacing people, and Congolese are on the run yet again. They said that some of them are fleeing into Burundi as a result of the clashes that are taking place in and around Uvira, bordering Burundi and the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. So the presidents are here. However, before President Tshisekedi and President Kagame came to Washington, we had some courageous Congolese women who came to Washington earlier this year to voice their concerns, to let decision makers here who are making decisions about the Congo know that there is a voice from the people of the Congo that is not necessarily in alignment with the local elites in Kinshasa, the local elites in Kigali, and of course the global elites here in Washington. So tomorrow, and you'll be hearing from the global elites and their proxies or sycophants, the local elites on the African continent. They will be sharing with you that peace has arrived to the Congo and that all is well and that American investment can now flow in, and that's going to bring prosperity for the people of the Congo and the Great Lakes region. So that's the narrative you're going to hear tomorrow. So today we're going to share with you the narrative from the people, particularly from the women who are on the front lines bearing the brunt of this war of aggression, this occupation, the territory that's been captured in the east of the Congo by Rwanda and its M23 militia. We have our sister Justine Masika Bihamba. She's the author of Women Resist War. We highly recommend that you get that book. She tells her story. She tells the story of the women of the east of the Congo in the book. And she, along with our sister Annie Modi of Afia Mama, Justine Masika Bahimba, she's with Synergie des Femmes, Annie Modi of Afia Mama, our sister Elodie Entamuzinda of Dignity Humaine. She was also here in Washington. Fazila Kambesa was also here of the Congolese Women Fund. They came to Washington. They had a press briefing at the National Press Club this summer to talk about the missing parts of this peace deal. First and foremost, they were missing, the women were missing, the people were missing, so they injected themselves in this discourse. They shared the point of view of Congolese women, those on the front lines. They talked about matters of justice, accountability, reparations, all those key elements, key necessary elements for establishing a foundation for peace, missing, and they bring those to the fore. So we're going to share with you what they said, what they shared with the American media, policy officials here in Washington, D.C., when they came from the Congo to bring a message from the people around this deal that is supposed to bring peace to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the Great Lakes region of Africa. So, Brother Kito, if you can cue it up and play our sisters, and then we'll come back to once they're finished with the press briefing to respond to any questions you may have.
Ceasefire and respect and implementation of the UN Security Council Resolution 2773.
Parce qu'on a vu des sangs couler, les gens mourir chaque jour. Les autres, c'est à cause de la guerre, les autres à cause de la famine, et les autres, c'est surtout les maladies cardiaques. Ils n'arrivent pas à supporter la situation, ils tombent malades, et d'un coup, ils perdent la vie comme ça.
People are dying on a daily basis, and some are dying of heart attack, some are dying of malnutrition, but people keep on dying every day.
C'est pour cela que nous disons tout ça, ça englobe tout ce qui est, vraiment des situations tellement compliquées au niveau de la RDC, et les droits humains n'est pas du tout respectés. C'est pourquoi nous appelons vraiment au cessez-le-feu effectif pour que la paix puisse revenir au niveau de la RDC. Merci.
There is various human rights violations in the context of conflict. This is why we are calling on effective ceasefire so that the DRC can regain peace. Madame Giselle will be leaving us because she has to go board her flights. She's flying out at 5 p.m. Can we take some questions if you have? Maybe you'll have one question. Madame Giselle is the only person who comes from Goma. We are praying and we will ask for your prayers as well because she still has to find her way to go back to Goma. We need people like her down there. So if you have questions for her or for us, this will be the time.
So the question I have is, you said that you visited the Congress, policymakers?
Yeah.
And what kind of responses? Were they promising, or what do you think, what do you make of the effectiveness of that?
Quelles sont les réactions, les réponses que nous avons reçues du Congrès ou des sénateurs et comment est-ce que nous pouvons nous soutenir? Quelqu'un veut répondre? Vous voulez
Nous avons eu le temps de rencontrer les parlementaires au niveau du Congrès. C'était vraiment pour nous l'occasion de leur demander d'amplifier notre voix. Parce que tel que nous venons de le dire dans notre présentation, nous sommes la voix de sa voix. Mais nous avons confiance que les personnes que nous avons rencontrées, ils vont nous aider à amplifier notre voix, mais aussi à nous aider à ce que tout ce que nous avons écrit dans notre note de plaidoyer puisse être pris en considération.
We met the congressmen and our request was for them to amplify our voice and to ensure the stakeholders and the process listen to our advocacy, and we trust that they will do just that. Just to add, the Congressman Jonathan Jackson gave us a full hour, listened to us, asked a lot of questions, and as a result of his support, we recorded a conversation with him directly, and that will be broadcasted. This is a way of amplifying our voices because we were able to present our advocacy and to talk to American people through that conversation with a congressman. Any other question for us?
Would you just spell her name for me, the lady from Goma? Would you spell her?
She said that J.
It's in the packet.
It's on the package.
Oh, okay.
All our names are there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir?
Yes, my name is Andre J. with Congolese, obviously. I guess we've been on this file for a long time. I've been knowing the Friend of Congo for quite some time now. I guess we go back to 2010, I believe, where we started this movement of the combatants, with some of them here in the DC fighting hard. So I've been pretty much sharing a lot of the advocacy that you guys have been doing. That's great. But there was also a missing part that some of us pretty much know this from way back in the days. We started one program that was called Commodation Network with, he's here, obviously, that was our father, Mr. Gilbert Mundela, that passed away. So we realized that we pretty much always go to push about what has to be done with the people. Like I heard pretty much, everything that you listed there as far as advocacy. What about some of the plan that we bring ourselves when it comes to security? All right? Because we have 9 bordering countries. And right now, when you look at the borders around those borders, when it comes to security, it's a disaster. It's a huge disaster. How about we start putting some other plans through those advocacy? That's good is about for the people, building school for our kids and all this stuff. That's great. But what about the security of the kids, the security of the whole borders and stuff? I think we need to start thinking about some other plans when it comes to that. Okay, come together, come with some security plans, social security with people that, myself, for instance, involved into, high technology and things like that, and start putting some plan that we're also gonna push because we're responsible as Congolese for that, for the security of the country. Nobody else will do it unless we push ourselves. So all that we do is great. We talk about school, hospital, all of the stuff. We forget security of our borders. Okay, that's one point that I want you guys to start thinking of. And if any help, we're open to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Dans nos plaidoyers, nous faisons un bon travail, mais il y a une dimension que nous semblons ne pas toucher, c'est la question en lien avec la sécurité de notre pays. Nous avons 9 pays limitrophes et la sécurité est notre responsabilité à nous en tant que Congolais. So maybe just give you an element of the response. It's not that we're leaving out the security aspect, but we have to set out priorities as it is. She lives in Goma. She left her house for a conference. She is not yet able to go back to Goma. We only got her a visa yesterday. We still didn't know where she will be going from Washington, D.C. We got her visa yesterday morning for 90 days in Schengen space. So we still have to think of her security as a human being, as somebody who's amplifying voices. Also, we are prioritizing the needs and targeting specific groups with specific advocacy message. You said it, our security is first our responsibility. So we also have internal requests that we addressing it to the people who are duty barriers, who are supposed to do their work. We have to hold them accountable somehow. So just to let you know that we are pretty much aware of that. That our priority now is for the blood to stop shedding, because people are not dying in the Zongo the same way they're dying in Goma. Zongo is the border with CAR, Central African Republic.
Exactly.
People are not dying the same way in Cabinda or Ruchuru. So we have to think of priority before we can then get back to other issues. But it's not that we leave it out. Also, secondly, we are many groups. As you can see, we are pointing one thing out. We have social pact that the religious people are heading. It's all male dominated, and it's all male driven. We are bringing the dimension of human-centered approach that other stakeholders are not taking into consideration. When they talk health security, for instance, we talk about women's health, reproductive health, women in uniform. We care about them because they can all go to war, but men do not have menstruation. So it's just the matter of prioritizing. And for this specific advocacy mission, the deal that is being negotiated here is focusing on a specific subject, which is mineral. So we did not think this was the time to get many advocacy topics, because we might shift attention away from what we want. We want the benefit of the minerals to also benefit for the population that we are. But thank you for bringing our attention to the main issue of security, because we want peace. There is no peace without organizing our security system and forces.
Yeah, because the reasons also mentioned, because as you can see as they're coming with the deal, the one main thing that they keep mentioning when it comes to our country is security. Okay? So, right? So if we can start doing some advocacy as far as bringing better plans to that, it's gonna help a lot, you know, when it comes to that. Okay.
Il fallait que je... Oui, c'est ça les micros.
Le gouvernement, parce que lui, en fait, vous n'avez pas le pouvoir de changer le Nous vous remercions infiniment pour l'intérêt que vous attachez à cette séance d'échange. Et nous croyons que c'est à travers vous que nous aurons ces solutions. Pour arriver ici, vous avez compris qu'il y a nos collègues qui devraient traverser beaucoup d'obstacles. Et sans oublier qu'il y a celles qui sont en plein refuge. Et pour se réfugier avec les enfants, vous savez comment nous les mamans, nous y allons. Nous y allons attachés avec nos enfants, avec des cordes, comme si nous tirions des chèvres. Donc ce n'est pas la joie. Et si nous disons, malgré ces obstacles, malgré ces conditions, nous devons venir vous tendre la main, c'est puisque nous espérons, non, nous croyons que nos voix ici, qui étaient en sourdine dans nos communautés, qui ne se faisaient pas entendre, ici, c'est maintenant l'espace qu'il faut pour que ces plaidoyers trouvent des bonnes courroies de transmission. Alors, pour parler d'idées, nous les femmes, nous avons mené beaucoup de plaidoyers ici pour que notre pays réintègre AGOA. C'est puisque nous croyons aux îles, nous croyons aux opportunités, nous croyons aux investissements. Mais nous ne savions pas que nous pouvions être dans ces conditions dont nous venions de vous décrire avec mes collègues et parler investissement dans cet environnement. Vous pouvez?
Do you understand French?
Non, bien sûr, bien sûr, bien sûr, bien sûr.
On parle
Bien
pour
sûr.
tout le monde, si vous pouvez interpréter.
Pardon, parce que I was distracted.
Donc, les conditions que nous venions de décrire, ce sont des conditions d'insécurité totale où nous ne pouvons pas, nous les femmes et les jeunes et toute la population en général, parler d'investissement sans cet environnement sécurisé.
Tout à fait.
Et c'est ce que vous venez de dire.
So what we're talking about is the total security, the human security. So when we're discussing investments and things of that nature, you know, that's what we're referring to. And also, I mean, this is a governmental, I mean, this is not what she said, but I think what she's trying to allude is saying that this is a government power, right, that we don't have at the, especially as women, we don't have at the local level. So, that's good.
Maintenant, nous voulons le faire en étroite collaboration, nous comme population, toutes les parties prenantes, et ce n'est pas à mâcher les mots. Nous voulons que toute la population soit sache d'abord, les deals comportent quoi? Quel est cet accord? L'accord dit quoi? Est-ce que nous disons que ça sera aussi comme le caoutchouc, puisqu'il y avait une imposition, mais on coupait les mains, mais on impose? Est-ce que nous voulons encore une sécurité qui va faire comme si nous sommes là juste pour subir, mais pas pour être impliqués ou participer? Nous disons oui aux opportunités, mais non à l'exclusion de toutes les parties prenantes. Toutes les parties prenantes doivent être impliquées et savoir de quoi il s'agit et discuter ensemble. Les histoires ne doivent pas se discuter en vase clos et dire que c'est pour la population. La population, toutes les parties prenantes veulent participer et si nous le disons comme ça, c'est pour que ça soit durable et non pas quelque chose d'éphémère. Si ce sont des mercenaires qui peuvent venir, c'est pour aider pour un temps. Maintenant, quel est le système que nous construisons? Nous voulons le construire ensemble et c'est une appropriation que nous voulons.
Yeah, we as women, we say we are open and we say yes to opportunities, but we need opportunities to be inclusive of all the communities' voices and concern. We need security for our country.
Donnez alors les questions aux auditeurs.
Yeah, I think we can take some other questions.
Okay.
Moi aussi j'avais une question, je vais peut-être la poser en français. Quelle est la responsabilité de notre gouvernement congolais pour assurer que ces deals puissent être équitables et favorables à la RDC? And I'll say that in English. My question is about the responsibility of the Congolese government to make sure that the minerals deal is fair and beneficial, favorable to the DRC.
Thank you for your question, but as we said, we are not representatives of the government. We are civil society organizations. We are here to represent the women and the civil society organizations and to with a message of advocacy toward other stakeholders into the process. But the messages that we have for our government, we started back home and we realized that other stakeholders needed to hear our advocacy from ourselves. So we hear that they will be here next week. So maybe, just maybe, you might find a way to ask them the questions directly so they can, as a government, respond to their part, responsibility in the thing.
But are you guys doing any advocacy?
Yeah, we
Toward
are.
them.
We are doing a lot toward them. She's working with our minister in charge of human rights. She was in Uvira just before our trip here. So just to say that we are holding them also accountable and we are following and monitoring closely. But for this mission, we do not have their message. We have women's message toward American institutions, policymakers, and the diaspora organizations that can amplify our voices.
Thank you.
Yes, I just want to mention that whenever we hear of the war in Congo, in the government, I will repeat in French, in the government, we have this association with groups like Blackwater, for example. These are groups of mercenaries, and they have killed thousands of people in Iraq. They have been pardoned by the current president of the United States. So what are some of the, do you think that the government is aware of that and also aware of some of the statements that the head of Blackwater, Mark or Eric, I forgot what his first name is, Prince, have made with regards to recolonizing Africa, for example. So these are really some deep questions that I wonder whether the government even knows about their way of thinking and their exactions.
You said you're repeating in
Well,
French.
Ah, oui, pardon. Alors je disais que le gouvernement parfois a des liens étroits avec des groupes comme les mercenaires de Blackwater. Blackwater, c'est un groupe qui a fait beaucoup de dégâts en Irak, qui a tué énormément de personnes. Vous avez le directeur, le président de Blackwater qui s'appelle Prince, son nom de famille, j'oublie son prénom. Et il a, Eric Prince, je crois, et il a fait des déclarations qui sont vraiment des déclarations mais affolantes, dans lesquelles il parle par exemple de recoloniser l'Afrique. Alors est-ce que le gouvernement congolais est au courant de cela, de leur pensée, de leur manière de penser, et qui peut être même dangereuse pour la RDC? Merci.
Prendre la réponse et puis Jim.
Voilà. En fait, parce que moi je voudrais renforcer ça, parce que ça c'est la raison pour laquelle nous autres ici nous sommes en train de voir de loin par rapport à ça, parce que je crois que les mamans, je crois que vous êtes bien placés pour pouvoir pousser ça aussi, parce que on voit l'advocacy des mamans, tu vois, on connaît les cœurs de mamans, les actions de mamans, mais il y a une partie qui est très importante en fait dans tout ça. Vous avez entendu ce que la maman ici a dit en fait par rapport à, ouais. Et il utilise ces termes-là, et ça c'est bien vrai, c'est ce qu'il a dit. Eric, il a dit c'est pour recoloniser l'Afrique. Il a dit si les Africains ne savent pas le faire tout seuls, on va les aider, on va le faire pour eux. Vous entendez ce langage-là?
So to translate it in English, I think Joe was just emphasizing on the point that was made about the use of private security companies and providing security safety on the continent in Africa, and in this case in Congo.
Les gouvernants ont aussi des soucis, puisque nous parlons à un certain moment de la diplomatie. Et nous ne connaissons pas ce qu'ils endurent réellement comme difficulté. Mais nous pouvons savoir ce que nous endurons comme population. Et c'est à nous de montrer aux gouvernants ce que nous endurons. Nous ne pouvons pas nous mettre à la place des gouvernants pour dire ils endurent tel ou tel autre blocage, nous pouvons tolérer. Non, nous pouvons crier au secours et dire à nos gouvernants, là, il y a un problème, et c'est ça, nous parlons de l'alerte. Nous sommes des lanceurs d'alerte. Et lorsque nous lançons cette alerte, nous les lançons au nom de toute la population, nous les lançons pour nous-mêmes et pour nos enfants, nous les lançons pour les générations futures.
Okay.
C'est pour cela que nous disons, nous ne voulons pas de ce qui peut-être éphémère, mais nous voulons du durable. Et pour avoir du durable, nous disons que nous devons le construire ensemble. Ce que les gouvernants peuvent faire dans la diplomatie n'est pas nécessairement durable. Les gouvernants doivent nous écouter et savoir ce que nous pouvons faire ensemble, pas en ennemi. Les gouvernants ne sont pas nos ennemis. Ce sont nos gouvernants, ce sont nos autorités et nous devons travailler ensemble pour arriver à trouver des solutions. Nos solutions ne sont pas des mercenaires. Nous disons non. Nous ne disons pas que c'est ça notre souhait. Nous disons que nous devons étudier ensemble les problèmes qui nous gangrènent et trouver les pistes de sortie. Nous avons eu des propositions, nous avons eu des résolutions, nos mamans venaient d'y revenir. Nous ne parlons pas seulement de la résolution 1325, de la résolution 2250, de la résolution 2773 et d'autres résolutions y afférentes. Nous ne parlons pas seulement des sommets, il y a eu des sommets de la SADC, EAC, de IAI Angola, aujourd'hui c'est Doha. Mais dans tout ça, il y a un aspect qui manque. Et c'est ce que nous sommes en train de relever. L'aspect qui manque, c'est ce cadre qui n'est pas inclusif et qui laisse à ce que nous continuons à naviguer comme s'il y avait des cercles vicieux. Je ne sais pas si je peux d'abord être interprété et puis je continue.
So, and I'll summarize. So, what Mama is saying is that, of course, they do recognize that security is the responsibility of the Congolese government. The Congolese government is ultimately responsible for providing security, safety for its people, and then they're not encouraging the use of mercenaries for security services in Congo. However, and then they are willing to work together. They're not opposing essentially the government, but they're willing, the Congolese government in this case, but they're willing to work together with the Congolese government to find solutions to these critical issues. And I think the point she was about to make was how the peace processes that are taking place now can be more inclusive, so to include civil society groups, elected groups, and then other groups that also are voicing concerns.
Vous avez écouté les intimidations d'Eric Prince. Écoutez maintenant notre message. Relayez aussi notre message. Oubliez ce que vous avez relayé pour Eric Prince. Ça, ce sont des intimidations aux Africains. Maintenant, le maman vient avec leur message qu'elle vous demande de relayer et surtout de plaider à qui des droits. Nous savons qu'aujourd'hui, si vous le voulez bien, notre voix aujourd'hui peut arriver aux oreilles des autorités du monde entier. Si vous voulez nous aider. Et nous sommes sûrs et certains que cela est possible, mais ensemble. Nous devons y arriver ensemble et non pas en excluant certains groupes sociaux, certains groupes communautaires, les opposants, les majoritaires, puisque nous ne parlons pas seulement de la société civile, nous parlons de toutes les parties prenantes, les églises et bref, les jeunes également, vous et nous qui êtes ici et surtout les partenaires à tous les niveaux.
Yeah, so Mama was saying that so we should also not only amplify the concerns or what Eric Prince, who's the founder of the Blackwater private military company, but we should support, amplify their efforts, their voices, but also there are a wide range of stakeholders in this process, and then we have to ensure that all stakeholders are being included. We know that this process, the peace process, should not exclude any group, any social group or community group, and we should provide and foster that inclusive space. Yeah, any other questions? Yes, please.
Is that a question? How can we help on this side to help elevate their messages? How can we assist as Americans and even as folks who really are trying to be on the right side of history? How can we help them, or in any tangible ways, small ways, even if it's through social media or whatever? What are some ways that we can help elevate their message and be a resource in any kind of way? Just wondering.
En français, il demande comment les Américains, les gens qui sont ici, peuvent vous aider, peuvent vous accompagner dans vos efforts, en tout cas de façon tangible, de façon concrète, pour résumer.
First thing, thank you, because just being here, you're already supporting us. And secondly, we count on all of you to share our message, amplify our voices, because why did we come? We just said it before. When we watch on the news, there was a deal that was going to be signed in America. Whatever was being said there was not really transmitting our priority, our aspiration as the people. That's why we decided to also come to Washington, D.C. In fact, today is a very critical moment, because as we speak here, we know that delegations are landing in D.C. and they are supposed to be finalizing their negotiation and to sign next week. So now you know that the deal, that whatever they will be signing upon does not really take into account the people's aspiration. That's the first thing. The secondly is just also sharing information. You just did. I didn't know about the prince. I didn't know, because we are so overwhelmed in humanitarian response. Because one thing that we did not mention maybe is when Goma and Bukavu went under control of the armed groups, all international organizations left. All humanitarian international organizations that had resources left. The UN agencies, they all left, leaving the people in a terrible situation without any resource. So all of us here used our own personal resources to respond to humanitarian needs. So just to let you know, some of information we might not really, not because we don't have the will to know, but just because we are too busy responding to humanitarian. So sharing information is important. Also asking our information from us. We are open to share information. And thirdly, when you can and if you can, the organizations that are on the ground doing first humanitarian response. You can also fundraise and support our work on the ground. This is the tangible way. Mama Justin wrote a book. She has it here. She's also just a way of fundraising. Whatever that book is bringing, she's not using it for anything. I bought 2 books. My team had to send money directly in Goma because they had to pay for some water bill for the women the survivor of sexual violence. So those are just some diverse way that you can support us. But yeah, we really need our voices to be heard, because most of the time, the politician voices are more louder than the people voices. But it's not that whatever they say reflect reality or priority for the population. So yeah, thank you again for supporting, and we trust that this solidarity will continue.
All right.
Thank you so much for being here once again. I would like to ask Mama Justine, just reading a little bit from the book. So much is said about the war, but less is said about what we lost. For you write on chapter 4 our region is not a small paradise. Our region is not a small paradise. It's a small paradise that suddenly became hell in 1994. So, can you tell us what have we lost for the last 30 years?
Vous pouvez nous dire ce que nous avons perdu dans les 30 années passées, parce que les livres nous parlent plus de la guerre et ça ne met pas en évidence ce que nous avons perdu. Et il a cité une phrase dans votre livre qui dit que notre pays qui était comme un paradis
sur terre. C'est comme ça que je l'ai dit en français.
Soudainement, voilà, un affaire. Vous-même, vous savez comment vous avez dit. Voilà.
Oui. Quand moi je grandissais, notre pays était le paradis sur terre. Puisque là, quand nous allions en vacances, on traversait le parc national de Virunga. Donc, on voyait tous les animaux, mais pas dans un zoo, mais on les voyait vraiment en présentiel. Et nous, on a une saison où il pleut toute l'année, donc on sème, on récolte, on a la nourriture toute l'année. Là, on s'est déplacé, comme je dis, on allait en vacances chez nos grands-parents, on traversait le parc national de Virunga aujourd'hui. Et
when I was growing up, we used to walk through a national park, Virunga, and we saw animals not in the zoo behind the fence, but we could see the animals. And we had a raining season in the year.
Là, je dis que donc on a la pluie toute l'année. On peut s'aimer, donc nous avons tout. C'est pour cela que je parlais de paradis sur terre.
We have everything. It rains throughout the year, and we can sow and reap and harvest anytime in the year. That's why I'm saying that we have a paradise.
Mais depuis la guerre, il n'y a plus de parc qui existe.
Since war
Et
started,
même les gens qui vont dans les champs, ils peuvent peut-être labourer et s'aimer, mais ils n'auront pas la chance même de récolter. Il y a des gens qui vont dans les champs, surtout les femmes, elles sont abusées sexuellement. Il y a des personnes qui sont tuées chaque jour, donc il n'y a plus ce paradis sur terre.
since war started, there is no more security, there is no safety. People can start their field work, but they are not able to harvest because before the harvest time, war can start and they have to run away. The women can get raped when they go in the fields. So there is no more that paradise. We have lost that paradise.
Surtout, il y avait cette solidarité, il y avait cet amour. On vivait ensemble, on n'avait peur de personne. Nous tous, nous étions ensemble, en communauté. Donc, on pouvait se déplacer comme on pouvait. Donc, c'était vraiment le paradis. Mais aujourd'hui, on a tout perdu. Parce que ça n'existe plus.
We lived together, we had that solidarity and love as a community. The cohabitation was peaceful. But since this war, we trusted each other. But since the war started, that mistrust, we lost that love and solidarity. So we lost our paradise.
Thank you so much. So we'll take maybe one more question and then we can do closing remarks.
Yes.
My question is in regards to violence against women. From what you just described, I want to know if the issue is similar to what we see in South Africa, where there's a social issue pitting men against women and almost devaluing the women, the men in the men's minds as a devaluation of women, and that's what the issue is? Or is the issue of sexual violence coming from the outside, meaning that we have groups of other men from other countries coming in and raping women?
I'll just translate your question first. Sa question est à voir avec la question de violence sexuelle. Elle veut savoir si c'est comme l'exemple de l'Afrique du Sud où il y a un problème social où les hommes de la même communauté violentent leurs propres femmes ou sœurs, ou dans leur tête, ils dévalorisent les femmes en commettant ces violences, ou alors c'est différent, c'est une question de violence sexuelle des hommes d'autres communautés ou d'autres pays qui viennent pour violer. Okay. The DRC context is different. We're talking about sexual violence or rape being used as a weapon of war. So socially or anthropologically, men are responsible for protection of the women of their community. And the women of a community they are a treasure and a reason of pride for the men of their community. So using rape of women of a community is like defeating, showing the men of that community that you have defeated them. They were unable to protect the women of their community. So it is really, that's why we say a woman's body is not a battlefield. If men want to fight, they should fight each other, not use the woman's body as a trophy to show that they have defeated the other men. So the problem is not social. Mama just said it. When I was young, I was small, we did not hear about rape. When it was raining, it rains throughout the year in our country. We used to go in the rain, naked, running around. You could see cousins. We were not afraid that we would get raped. Totally different. I speak English because I was a refugee in South Africa. That's why I speak English. Otherwise, I would need a translator too. So just to tell you, I know the context of South Africa is totally different. This rape and sexual violence is really being used in a systematic way. Certain communities, they did not stop at raping. They raped and took some les bâtons, sticks, and stick it in the woman's vagina, excuse me to be so blunt. And some, they even opened the womb of a woman, took out the womb. That's why we are also advocating on another register on acknowledgement of the Congolese genocide, because some villages were burnt down. Some villages, on a systematic way, in 2009, they called DRC the world capital of rape, because rape was being used systematically as of to rip off existence of some tribes, so their lands can be occupied by who? So the DRC context is complex. It's extremely complex. It's not just economic dimension, social dimension. There is also a land issue that stays right there. American would understand that, because we have a land issue that's also at stake. That's why Mama Elodie was insisting on the population's participation, effective participation in all process. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So we're running behind schedule. I think we'll do closing remarks and then we'll wrap up. So maybe Mama Elodie, do you want to start and then?
Le mot de la fin.
Mot de la fin. Voilà.
Thank you, Brother Kito, for sharing the words from our sisters, Congolese sisters who came to Washington in the summer, ahead of the president of the DRC and Rwanda. We had our sister Justine Masika Bihamba, Siniji des Femmes, Annie Modi, Afia Mama, Mama Elodie, Entam Zinda from Dignity Humaine, and Fazila Kambesa. So if there are any doubts about what the Congolese people think about this peace for minerals deal, we see that you have it there, that the women actually came to Washington in extreme conditions in a courageous trip in order to have their voices be heard. And they're not the only ones. You have Congolese in the diaspora, and they're stepping up as well. They're going to be in front of the White House tomorrow, Thursday, December the 4th, to protest a deal among the elites, a deal that doesn't benefit the Congolese people, a deal that doesn't bring peace, a deal that doesn't bring justice or accountability. So Congo is not for sale, the Congolese diaspora says. No justice, no deal. They said they demand true justice and accountability for the victims of Rwanda's occupation. And that's what they'll be doing tomorrow at 11 a.m., Washington, D.C., in front of the White House. We encourage you to stand in solidarity with our Congolese brothers and sisters as they come out to share with the rest of the world what you won't hear coming out of the White House tomorrow, and that is a cry for justice, cry for accountability, cry for whatever decisions are made around that they wind up benefiting the Congolese people. So join us tomorrow in front of the White House. After the White House demonstration will be at 2 o'clock. We'll be on WPFW 89.3 FM, WPFW 89.3 FM to unpack whatever was discussed among President Trump, Paul Kagame, Felix Tshisekedi. Continue to follow us on our socials at Congo Friends on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, at Congo Friends. And if you want to get involved, you want to take action, you want to be a part of the movement, we encourage you to go to freecongo.org, freecongo.org, as we stand with our Congolese brothers and sisters, those who are in the diaspora, tomorrow in front of the White House, and our sisters back home, the Synergie des Femmes and Afia Mama and all the Congolese-led organizations, those are a part of the Bassanja Coalition. We encourage you to be by their side as they wage a courageous battle against the local elites and the global elites who are establishing deals that don't benefit the masses of the Congolese, particularly the women. All right, so thank you, Brother Kito. Thank you all. Freecongo.org. Get involved, take action, join the movement, stand in solidarity with our Congolese brothers and sisters on the front lines. Peace, peace, peace.